Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Global Party, Healing on All Levels. This is a very global experience. We've got Maggie in England, Laurence in France, Jacqueline in Canada. See, I can go the Jacqueline like the French. And we are talking about healing through transformation. This is just those healing and transformation are two key words in my vocabulary that just light me up. And I think that we have sort of 3 countries represented. It only makes sense. What song did you guys pick?
We Are the World.
We Are the World. So we're going to play a little bit about that. Here we go.
There comes a time when we hear when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. Returning day by day, there's a good somewhere to make a change. We are the father, God's great big family, and the truth, no love is free. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones
Better so let's start moving.
There's a choice
To make it.
we're saving our lives. It's true.
Da, 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 da. Look out,
Cool.
we could do the re-recording and the sales would go through the roof. No.
Indeed.
Ah. I remember where I was at that time in that song. Were you guys even alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very young.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
And
But
that's
there's been
all
several
began.
versions as well.
So let's get a little bit of background. How did the two of you come together and have this beautiful relationship and create this conversation on healing through transformation?
Okay. So Maggie and I met in Guatemala in 2017. We were attending a workshop, an intensive spiritual retreat, facilitated by a Mexican shaman and teacher. We were attending a course of Akashic records. And as soon as we've seen each other, it was like we've known each other for so long. It's like we were sisters. So we get on well. As soon as we've seen each other, we were like, oh, cuddling, big hug and kissing. So lots of love, and we always wanted to be together. And so that was just maybe a recognition from a previous life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then after that, a while later, Ernesto, who's the Mexican shaman, did mention that he was going to India on holiday, and if anyone wanted to come along, they can. And I was like, yes. But then I have forgotten a bit about it, and then Laurence reminded me, and we ended up in India again, and we had an amazing transformational experience as well. So yes. Yeah, very interesting.
This is so global. This is like the perfect conversation. There you go. And it's interesting because I had just posted yesterday, I think, about like I was at a Buddhist event. So the master was doing the readings, and the whole conversation was like, well, thank heavens we have all these books, right? Because if we didn't have these books, what would we know? And I've got, that's always been an issue for me, because it's like the two of you meeting, right? There was this instant recognition of each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we come across the truth for ourselves, there's this instant recognition.
That's true.
So as you two came together, realizing you were soul sisters.
Yes, soulmate, soul sister, and
Kindred
like
spirit.
guardian angels.
Yeah. Well, incidentally, she also looks very much like my older sister. So, yeah. But I hadn't put the two and two together until later on during that workshop, because we were there for nearly 3 weeks. And then it clicked that actually, you know, physically, like facially, and some of her behavior actually looks like my sister as well. So, yeah. Who knows? There might be some parallel living of my sister and Laurence. Who knows? That's me going a bit deep.
So let's go, before the two of you arrived then in Guatemala, how would you say your life is different before arriving in Guatemala to after coming back from India?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, before Guatemala, I had lots and lots of fears. I was not confident within myself. I didn't trust myself. I was open to spirituality, but not too much. I was doing some healing work, but like magnetism. I was releasing the pain from people. And then I decided to go to Guatemala because I've been offered this opportunity to go. And I didn't have much money at this time, so I was wondering, should I go? Should I not go? Because I wanted to make a room to do some healing. So this money was dedicated for this room. So then I talked to my husband and my 2 children, and my husband said, yes, you should definitely go there. I was like, oh, wow. He wants me to go there, so he doesn't like me the way I am. And my kids said, oh, yes, mommy, you should go. Because when you're going to be back, you're going to be so much better. I was like, oh, okay. So my ego was like, oh, they don't like me the way I am. And
I need to go.
because I was so much emotionally, I was crying, but I didn't know if it was me, if it was other people. It was hard for me to be hypersensitive.
Right.
I don't know the correct word in English.
Same, hypersensitive, yeah.
Yes.
So then I decided to go to Guatemala, and it was a great transformation for me because I've learned to open my Akashic records. And once the first time I've opened them, they said to me, you have to change your job. You have to make so many changes. I was like, wow. But it was so evident. So when I get back from Guatemala, I've quit my job, even though I've been 15 years in a space world. Not the space, but I was selling engines for helicopters.
Right.
Completely different job. So I came back without any fears. So that was a great trip. And the example I can highlight is that I was always scared of the water. Being in a boat, I was sick. And in Guatemala, on the way to go to the hotel, we had to take a boat. I was really scared. I was nearly being sick. And then after 3 days of being there, I said to my friends, oh, let's go and get a boat. Let's go on a boat trip. And there's so much transformation. So now I'm not car sick anymore. I don't have fears. And so I feel like I'm transformed.
Oh, it sounds awesome. You went from helicopters and taking all that, in a sense, all that up there energy, and from like symbolic Akashic records, and grounding it back and transforming it into your body and your life.
Yeah.
So Maggie, would you like to give them and what are Akashic records, and how can just, like, you can see Laurence glowing, right? This, I opened my Akashic records and everything. So people are like, what is this?
Yeah. So in its simplest form, the Akashic records go by the concept that, anything and everything within the universe, we can call Akasha for the sake of explanation now. And it goes by the concept that everything that ever happened, everything that is currently happening, and everything that is about to happen in the future is recorded in the DNA of the universe. And obviously the universe includes us as human beings. So then it literally means that, everything that's happened in our past in terms of the evolution of our souls from the past to the current time and into the future is recorded in the DNA, in our own DNA, which is part of the collective consciousness. And that information is what we call Akasha, and then, if you were to open, the records, then the records is a bit like a library. So you go in and you pull out information, but that's the records. So the records is information, basically. And it's actually represented in almost every spiritual practice as well as religion. So, for instance, if you're familiar with Christianity or the Bible, then you may have heard of the Akashic records as the Book of Life. It's sometimes referred to as the Hall of Records, and so many other, spiritual practices or old, spiritual folklore stories all have references to this, Akashic records, which is literally information about individual and the collective consciousness, and there's a way of accessing it. And another way of looking at it is, we all go through instances where we're trying to understand, or we're trying to find the root cause of a problem. And normally, where would be the best place to go and find this? If you could go to a place that has a recording of all the information from the past, the current, and into the future. That is the ultimate source. And it's guarded by very higher beings. So we normally refer to them as maybe ascended masters or the archangel. So they're in a very, very high realm, and that information is so protected that it does not get contaminated with, what we know as, the fight between evil and good. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an example or a bit of idea in terms of what the records are.
I think it's great. I feel like people are going to have some, ideas in their head. They saw that Hogwarts in the hall library, having the books coming off the shelf.
Yeah.
And you're actually just connecting to this information.
Absolutely.
To you. And we're using the analogies of a library, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just so for people go, so is there a library? No. I mean,
no. It's just information about the past, the present, and the future of the universe, which includes us as human beings. So then our information as well as the information of the collective universe.
So it's essentially cloud computing is a little bit of that example. Right?
Absolutely. The modern example, yes.
You
Google,
you go in, you ask the question in Google, and you get an answer. The difference is in the Akashic records, they're guided and protected by the ascended masters. It's like, you know, the protecting the truth, where you get everybody's opinion.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody's energies are in there.
Yeah.
So now, did you have the same sort of transformation, like when you went to Guatemala, also to India? Like, because this is like Laurence's was that's just Guatemala. We haven't even got to India yet.
No, not yet. Yeah. So for me, I had started accessing the records before I went to Guatemala. Purely because, and I think I've shared this with you before. So one morning I was meditating, and then towards the end of it, all I could hear was Akasha ringing in my ears. And I was like, what does that mean? And it felt like I should know what it meant. So I started doing some research and everything. And then I came across the book, and I started using the book. I was able to access my records. I felt there was a lot more to it. All right. So that is what led me to go to Guatemala. But it was all because I was searching for answers. I knew there was a lot more to me. I was coming out of my corporate role because I didn't want to be there anymore. And I felt very strongly that this Akashic Records was going to be part of the roadmap. So when I went to Guatemala, I went there with two specific aims. A, to find the next move forward, because I knew I wasn't going to go back and work in the corporate world as an employee. B, was to find, was to heal issues within my family, within my ancestral lineage. And I wanted to come back because I knew that, you know, there was the opportunity to heal and download some new DNA to help me transform my life into where I wanted it to be. How that was going to happen, I didn't have any clue, but that is why I went. And some pretty amazing transformation happened there. And just to give you a practical example, again, similar to Laurence's. So when I came back a few months later, I had kind of moved completely, and 18 months before, if you had said to me that I would be doing more spiritual work and, you know, speaking to people and, you know, being a conscious channel channeling information from the Akashic Records, I would have said, you having a laugh, I'm just normal. B, there are so many instances, even a few weeks ago, where since then, some of the healing and some of the tools that I acquired during that workshop, I had used so much on myself to heal myself as well as others. And I have then been led to other people who have offered to do some healing work for me. And I had said to them, I know I have issues around here. Could you, check and heal for me? And they would say, oh, but I've checked and it feels like you don't have any issues there at all. I'm like, what? So for instance, inner child healing, very recently I was working with another lady who was going to clear it from year one, or even from the womb all the way to how old I am now. And what she did some clearing for the womb, she did some clearing for years 1, 2, and 3, and then when she was checking what was the next year she should do, it was moving up to year 23, and she was like, what's going on? This never happened before. But since I came back from Guatemala, I had been using some of the tools to heal myself, and sometimes even though we don't realize that it's actually worked. And so these, I believe, are confirmations from people that actually those real transformations happened, from the time I went to Guatemala.
Woo! Well, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, that, I mean, in one sense, Akashic Records, it's giving you a point in time that is truth versus going to see a psychic to say, okay, what do you see in my future? Because, right, they're two entirely different experiences.
Yeah.
So there's deep healing work that's going on in transformation, like Laurence said. So when you came back, Laurence,
Yeah.
What did your kids and your husband say when mom returned?
So they find me completely different. They said to me, "Oh, you're so patient now," because I had so much love from the masters.
Yeah.
In the Akashic records, the people that are talking to us, we call them the masters. I received so much love that I had so much confidence inside me. I went for a soul searching, and I came back and I knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So you found yourself.
That's the key.
Yeah, I find myself.
Yeah.
Really, this wonderful experience has just helped me to go beyond my limits and to find the person that I was and my feelings. So I knew what I didn't want it anymore. So I knew that I didn't want a stressful job anymore. I wanted to do some healing, and I had the confirmation that I could do that. So I said to my husband, "I'm going to quit my job." He was like, "Oh, are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." So all my friends thought I was mad because I had a very comfortable job. I had lots of holidays. But this was not life for me. I just wanted the person I wanted to be, not what other people wanted me to be. So that was my first transformation. And physically also, I was smiling all the time. I was like turning and laughing. And so I just find myself actually.
Yeah. And just to add to that, that's the number one thing that you do, experience when you go through an Akashic Records experience, because it's all about connecting people to who they truly are, their true blueprint. So because of that, for me, I go back. So I mean, the thing with the Akashic Records is you can hang any hat you want to hang on it. So I've come across medical doctors who use the Akashic Records to operate so they can get to the right cause of the problem and remove it and be very successful at what they do. For me, it's about connecting people to the true blueprint, because once they're there, then they can make decisions from that point, and it's so in alignment with themselves. And for me, that's one of the biggest transformations that I had as well, just like Laurence.
So now, do the two of you each go to the Akashic Records every time you want to make a decision now? Or now that you've found yourself, for instance, and are confident in what you do, is there a sense of an awareness or a feeling that guides you to the next choice in your life?
I use the Akashic Records on a daily basis. During my meditation, during my yoga class, and if I have to do some writing. But sometimes I use them to make a decision, but it's just to receive the confirmation that I'm going on the right path. And I'm using also my Akashic Records when I do some healings to people, because at least I know I am in the right energy, in loving energy. And I also use the Akashic Records to open, to do some readings for others. So I use the Akashic Records on a daily basis. And I feel great about that, and really grateful as well, because it's like, as you said, I call it the Google of the universe.
Well,
it's a healing energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think it's interesting too that there's another physical manifestation with, at least over here in North America, to do your DNA ancestry. Go get your DNA and find out where you're really from. I think, yeah, but your DNA can change,
It can't change, yes.
Yeah.
Incredibly, yeah.
And so okay, so I think I also want to get a point here that for people to realize that each of you had a successful career.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right? I had that way back when too. And so for anybody on the outside looking in, you know, they're thinking, what? And internally you too were going, what? Until you were confident, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels different. I mean, you know, making a huge shift and transformation like that, especially if you are in a successful career and then moving into a space where you're going to be doing things more from a holistic level, and something that is not readily accepted or known by everyone else. You know, it doesn't come with its own challenges. But also it's also the case of you as a person still going through that transformation to make that shift, and the moments of doubt that you have, you know, with regards to, am I going to really survive, you know, is it going to really pay the bills, and you know, so you know, it's there, but you know, having access to this amazing tool that is readily available to us on the planet at the moment is hugely, you know, rewarding, because then it helps you, you know, move through your journey in a way that is, you know, a bit more, you feel guided basically, and you know, so it's really good. I mean, references to the Akashic records in the past, you know, I think some of the earliest references would be a guy called Edgar Casey, who was referred to as a sleeping prophet. So, but now, you know, a lot of people, you know, you don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to have any special abilities to be able to access your records, to be able to live your life to your fullest potential. So long as you're making that effort to align your energies and to align your frequencies, then you know, you will be able to access your records, or you will be led to someone to help, you know, start opening some of the veils for you to then go towards your highest potential.
Yeah. I think, go ahead, Laurence.
Yeah, what I would like to say to the people that are listening to us is that by trusting in ourselves, we can make, we are more powerful than we think we are. And we can create the life that we want to have by just making the right choice for us. And in order to know if we are doing the right choice, if you start to get ill, or if you start to feel pain in your body, you have to ask yourself, am I doing things right? Am I having the right job? Or am I with the best person? Or so just by meditating and just to rest and go for a walk and just go deeply inside of you and just listen to your heart and see what it says to you. It's the best way to make sure you are on the right path.
Yeah. So the Akashic Records does not replace your common sense.
Yes.
Because it's you connecting with your higher self in a stronger way, and developing yourself. So the wisdom is within you, basically. You're connecting with a higher, you know, power source to even make it better, but it starts with you.
So in my 10-day trust your inner guidance, like I talked, day 2 is about your body is your barometer, right? Which is so to recognize your body has a feeling. So when people are stressed and they're going to work, right? But they're going, yes, but you have a good job.
Yeah, that's their ego.
It's that ego, and your body's going like this, like, because I used to have the size of golf balls stress in my back in my 20s. Like, so when I left in 1991, it was revolutionary in the sense that people are like, what are you doing? Now people will say, oh, I get it. Right? I understand now. But that's the idea, right? Is the body gives you this awareness lots of times before your mind will even allow you to accept it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the others around you sometimes can say, you know, they can be the distraction that pulls you away, or they can be like your husband and your sons, Laurence, that are saying, yes, Mom, this will be good for you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to know who's around us. And if there are people that watching are feeling guided to reach out to either of Laurence or Maggie, like, you know, then go for it, because each of us has a different path. You know, each point is a different perspective, but when we're coming from that sense of truth, this oneness, that we're all here on this earth, we look at us, we're all so beautiful, right? Did I do it? And we say it differently, and we experience it differently. So trust your guidance of who, you know, that you want to go open your Akashic records. You want to get a really great book. You want to find what's that transformation for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't even got to India yet, so this could be an ongoing conversation. But let's give what was the big aha as you left India?
Go for it.
So the first thing regarding India, I've spent 3 weeks. For me, the most important thing was to respect my needs, because we were planning to go to the Holi festival. The Holi festival, it's a very big celebration in India to celebrate spring season. So there's lots of flowers, lots of powders. It's very popular. So lots of people in the street. It's very crowded and very noisy. So usually I'm not very comfortable in the crowd.
Because you're sensitive.
Yeah, because so sensitive. So I took this experience for me to go beyond my limits again.
Right.
So I was not very willing to go there to this festival, but well, I've said, okay, I will try and I will go beyond my limits. So this festival, people are just using natural and chemicals powders to cover their face, their skin, their hair, their clothes. There is lots of music, they're dancing in the streets, lots of people enjoy themselves. They are partying.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't feel like partying because it was so packed. And they don't hesitate to take some powder to cover your face, your mouth, your eyes. They touch your bodies. You can touch your boobs. So I was not used to that. So people had lots and lots of fun. So I went there 3 days. And after 3 days, my body started to send me some warnings that I had enough. I wanted to go there. My ego wanted me to go. My mind was saying, you should go. You should be going with your friend. Don't leave them alone. But then, inside me, I knew it was not right for me because I just had enough. It was too much for me. So then I had a discussion with Maggie, and she said, but listen to your body. If you don't want to go, just rest and take it easy. And for me, it was a rebirth because for the first time of my life, I was listening to my body.
You've shown up twice.
So,
I don't know how that happened, but it was like, woo, we're talking about body and out of body. No.
Yeah, and out of the body. So it was a rebirth for me because for once I was really doing something that was resonated inside me. And I felt it was good for me to stay in the room of the hotel even though my friends were disappointed because they wanted me to come, I think it was right for me. So the transformation was like to respect my needs and to listen to what's right for me, even though I disappoint other people. But I was so proud of myself to be able to do what I really want to, and not being influenced by others. So that was good. And for me, the key for happiness is like love, compassion, and tolerance.
Yeah.
And so Maggie was here to help me to take this decision as well.
So we're there to help each other.
Yeah. And I stayed in my room for 2 days, and there was a great transformation because I was doing lots of writing, lots of meditation, some yoga, and I felt so good with the decision I took. So that was the first transformation for me.
That is so fabulous and so powerful because, again, it's about you knowing you and what's best for you. So as each of us in this whole global party are sharing experiences, the reason I feel this is such an essential ingredient in our life is because everybody has a story.
Yes.
And every single person has a story of that moment of shift and transformation to a different point in their life. And as we keep feeling that joy and that compassion and that peace, we are creating that in our life, our family, and our communities, and we're helping others to say, yes, they can do the same.
Yes.
So you supported her in saying, yes, go for it, just leave.
Don't worry about me, just go with the flow. Go with your flow.
Maggie had lots and lots of compassion for me, and so that helps me as well.
Awesome. And how about you, lovely Maggie, that had compassion for what was your
So, wow. So for me, India was a really, I'll say it's, you know, I've been coming through a phase where, you know, there are pivotal moments. And for me, I was really touched by how the energies of places sometimes, you know, can be what you need to actually, you know, like the vibration could be what you need to actually get to a level that you wanted to get to. So a very pivotal one for me was, you know, in the first initial days, how I was feeling this very, very strong love connection. And of course, we were in a place called Mathura, which is the birthplace of Krishna, the India god. And so for me, the vibration of love energy in the first few days was simply amazing. Laurence mentioned about the Festival of Color, which was also it was also very connected to love. So for me, I was also experiencing a lot of love, and some of my last relationships coming to the fore to be healed, and also having a very, very strong connection with current love people that I love in my life at the moment. A very big one that also happened in a very transformational way was being able to connect with some higher cosmic beings that I hadn't. So I didn't know of them, but I think vibrations in certain places, you know, when they say, you know, certain places have some big vibrational energies, you don't necessarily believe it until you're there and you experience it, so it becomes your story. So for instance, for me, I connected very, very strongly with an Egyptian goddess called Sekhmet.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe some people are aware of it, that this lion goddess, and you know, it's been very, very pivotal for me, because since then I've been having some really great connections, and you know how they say sometimes it can be taught by a higher being. I have had those experiences since I came back, including being able to be led to remember some healing abilities that I had in past lives that I'm not necessarily using now, but I'm being given that confidence to know that yes, I've healed in the past, and I can continue to heal, and I can continue to use those kind of really strong, powerful abilities in my current life now. A, to be able to serve myself. B, to be able to serve others. And very recently, over the last week or so, I was speaking to Laurence, and and even though I was getting these healing messages very powerfully, I was using it maybe for myself, but I wasn't quite ready to go out there and start having some guinea pigs. But very recently, I was speaking to Laurence, and she was like, I've always told you, because she was the first one to tell me in Guatemala that I was a healer. And for someone who has been operating from the logical right brain for so long, I was like, well, yeah, I can do what I do now in terms of consciously channeling information from the records, but I had been putting off that aspect of healing other people. Especially, I have been doing some work on myself, but not other people. But she gave me the confidence, and over the last week or so, I put the word out there. That's part of my development. I would love to, get some people to practice some healing on. Mm-hmm. The response to that was overwhelming. And then I just went for it, and I did some remote healing sessions on some people. Mm-hmm. And the feedback that they've given me is beyond my imagination. And I feel that again is connected to, the vibration of India, and that helped me go a bit more deeper and bring some of my abilities to the fore, because it's what I need now to move forward in confidence, both in my personal life as well as my contribution to other people.
Awesome. So I Laurence, come back.
Yeah.
Yes, fine. I just received a call.
My experience has been over the decades, as I've worked on myself, that mm-hmm. what I would have considered once upon a time as someone else's gift, right? Mm-hmm. That I've realized that that's just what I've become, in the sense of the more in tune you become, that you realize, oh, you have that, whatever, that psychic capability that I would have said, mm-hmm. or that mm-hmm. feeling, because that journey, I feel, is all part of that vibration.
Yeah.
And it's when we allow ourselves to receive it, right?
Yeah.
We start to realize, frequency. Oh my gosh.
It's a frequency status. Yeah. So I feel it's been amazing from that perspective.
Yeah. So you just keep it's like you keep expanding. It's not like there's a destination. Mm-hmm. Right? We're transforming.
No, not at all. Yeah.
And this transformation is mm-hmm. like you realize it just gets better, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because for a long time I have had on my websites and everywhere that I helped people balance themselves emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And even though I knew I was able to do that through the Akashic records, I knew there was a lot more to it, because for me, being able to help people integrate this really important information is important. But I was not coming fully into doing that. So I have a program, and I'm leading people to it, but I think in terms of taking it a level up notch, and being in that space and knowing that I'm just an instrument here, so I should, as Laurence said, get the ego out of the way, get out of your own way, and let the higher beings heal the people that need to be healed in this time, to help with raising the vibration of the planet. So that is what I feel I'm moving more and more into now, and for that I'm so grateful.
I think that's a great comment. Instrument, because that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It is certainly not me. It's that I am allowing that, whatever, that connection, that frequency, that vibration to move through, and it does the healing within somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
It's that, like plugging them into the right socket.
Yeah. And then they, you know, they do their work, you know, you just hold the space for them to do their work, or for what needs to be done to them,
Is that, would you have anything you want to add, Laurence?
Yeah, regarding the vibrations, we were a group of people with Maggie. We were traveling, so we all had different energy. Sometimes some people were feeling sad or angry or sick or tired. Some were okay, but we all had different energy. And what was important for Maggie and I was to remain in our high vibrations.
Oh, yes.
Because we trust ourselves that what we think is that we are not responsible for other people's energy.
Right.
But we all have the power to transmute it. So we can switch the low energy into higher vibrations. Just by the power of positive thoughts, by love. So that was our main point, to remain in high vibration. It doesn't matter where we are, it doesn't matter with who we are. That was important for us, to remain in high vibration.
And it worked so well. It worked so well. Yeah.
We have experienced that every day.
It again, I'm going to go back to a physical example for people. It's like you put on your Wonder Woman suit, you know, in that sense. You realize, like, literally you can just kind of think it, or just sometimes that's what I find, is like just sprinkle that energy over there. But you realize, like, your smile just goes shoop, and it sends this beam out in front, right? Like, it's that concept that it's a new level of awareness of this power that moves through you and you exude outside. So compassion is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think this is a key part, because I think, and I had that experience too, wanting to go down to that level, you know, into the pit with the person to bring them out. And then finally, I was
hard work.
Right? And so compassion is recognizing there's a situation and sending that love. So it sort of, you know, embodies in that energy and the spirit that it works through their own systems, their own vibrations, and hopefully they start to spark and come out just like we all have.
Yeah, I believe that love is the strongest energy to transmute low vibration in the highest and great energy.
I know Maggie is in UK, so you may have seen the royal wedding, but France has never really been keen with England. But I have to say that speech was, and I'm Canadian, right? So I got both of you.
Yes. Lucky you.
But I think Canada, we're the world too. So it's like, but I love that speech at the royal wedding that came out on love. That, and to me, I just felt like there was, I thought 1 billion people were watching, thinking they're watching a wedding, and they were hit with massive love energy that they were completely unaware of. Right? That they were, you know, that I thought it was so perfectly, divinely timed that this ricocheted out through the earth unexpectedly. Nobody went to a retreat. Nobody, you know, they thought they would just watch something in the
There's a perfect channel for it. Yeah.
So it's happening, isn't it, girls? Ladies,
everywhere.
Souls,
left, right, center.
Well,
Jacqueline,
go ahead.
It's really funny that you are talking about a wedding, because we have an experience to share, Maggie and I, about a wedding.
Oh,
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
So it's regarding the power of intention, power of intention and prayer. Because in India, Indian peoples believe in God, and they give lots of offerings to the Ganga River. So one morning, I went by the Ganga River just to give an offering to the river, which is a sacred place.
Okay.
And my prayer or my intention for that day was to receive lots of love for my Ganga. And we've met two guys. We get on very well with them. We went for a walk by the Ganga, and we were sharing experiences. We've decided to go to a park just to sit down and talk. And at that point, we were listening to some musicians. So we liked the music they were playing. So we said, okay, let's go and follow them. So we didn't know where they were going. We just said, okay, let's follow them.
Yes.
So we just
With the flow.
we just went with the flow. We walked behind them, and we end up at a wedding. So I've been discussing with a guy, an Indian man, very well dressed. He's a doctor, and this guy said was like really happy to meet us, the four of us. So he said, do you want to come to the wedding? You will be my special guest. So we were like, what? But we don't have proper clothes. He said, yeah, you're going to be my guest. So we just turned up to a wedding.
Yeah.
They took picture of us with the groom and bride.
Yeah.
So we've been very spoiled. We've been very spoiled, and there was so much love. We've been enjoying ourselves, dancing, and we've had the best food ever we've had in India. So just by the intention of the morning, I put into the Ganga, just asking for love. And we've had such a special day.
Yeah.
So this journey of transformation in India, for me, it's the faith. I have the faith now. So this is just an example to highlight the power of intention. Intention is a force in the universe, but anyone can have this, is connected to this force.
Yeah, it's about the individual and the collective. And if you choose to plug into the right collective energy, you just receive more of it back. Absolutely. Yeah.
And going back to Google, if you Google love, you usually find avenues to love. But if you Google awful relationship, you know, or I don't want this, you're going to get an entirely different one. So it's being really clear on what you're intending and asking. Because you're gifted, and that's, the universe keeps giving, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so awesome.
So are you.
So we're going to put links below so they can get a hold of you if they'd like to connect further, right? Any last parting wisdom that you feel you want to share with the audience here?
Be the changes that you want to see in the world. Like we are the world, so be these changes.
It's all gone right around. Fabulous.
Yeah, and mine is our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we have potential over and above what we ever dream of. So be open to experiencing your highest potential, and you'll be amazed the true you that's going to emerge out of that.
And those are both very powerful thoughts to leave everybody with on your journey and transformation. We wish you the trust and the belief that everything you need will be presented to you, and that you are open to receiving and breaking out of your comfort zone, and sometimes traveling halfway around the world to find yourself, right?
Yeah.
So go wherever you're guided, and if it's straight to an Akashic record reading, go do that right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
Bye-bye.